Uh, I am not going to talk about the definition of health literacy now, because I saw that on the papers there is a definitions, and you are probably quite familiar, all of you, with the definitions. So I'll just jump over these slides, but just to say that we are using in all our research that I'm going to talk to you about, so definitions of not beam or certain sense. So we are using that kind of approach that we are using in the World Health Organization. And my lecture is formulated so that I am a little bit talking about the background of our research, and then I'll tell about 4 projects or 5 projects that we are working on, and they are mainly on children's, activating children's health literacy in different ways. And some of them are already almost done, and some of them are on the way. So I'm telling you about the ongoing research and what we have been doing, and I hope that you get ideas for your own projects. I was really excited to see how much you have beautiful things you are doing here in Belfast. So it was almost like I was feeling that what can I give to this group, that they have already done everything, but probably there is something anyway. And now I still check that I started about 10 minutes late, so is it okay
Sure,
that I
yeah.
still use my 40 minutes
Yes.
and nobody's angry? Okay.
Okay.
So I'll jump over these. Health literacy, maybe only stop in that we try in our project, we try to support all of these levels: functional, interactive and critical health literacy, but of course some of them come earlier than the others. And we can think about health literacy as a key outcome of health education, but also it's related to health behaviors. And also this is relevant in our projects, that we are trying not only to increase the knowledge of children, but also to change their behaviors, and that is something that I'm going to talk to you about. Then certain groups are more vulnerable than others, and health literacy is dependent on the knowledge and values and attitudes. So it's not only individual knowledge and values and attitudes, but also the local community. And so the community is building the children's values, the close community, meaning the family, but also the whole community, the schools and educational system and things like that. And do you mind, I have to take my sweater away, it's warm here in this country. Yeah. But I promise this is all. So anyway, the personal factors are also important. So age, the younger the children, the younger we can affect the children, it's better. So we should start very early. And Mr. Michael McBride, yes, I got it right. Dr. Michael McBride, you talked about in the schools. Some of our projects are in kindergarten, so we are now telling you a little bit about the kindergarten level also. So it's the best is to start as early as possible. In Finland we have a maternity care system, very probably similar to all countries, but ours is such that we start to meet the mother already when she's pregnant, and then we meet regularly several times during the first year of the child, and then once a year after that, all the way until the child is 18, when she then goes or he goes to the occupational health care. So we have a very good this kind of connection, that the public health workers are able to meet the children every year and follow their growth from the very beginning to the end of childhood, and even probably to the end of their lives, but hopefully that's much longer way then. The social environment factors are also important and situational, but I'm not now going into that. I unfortunately in this picture, and this is now funny because you can't see the positive part, but here is some health literacy assessment that has been done quite recently by Sørensen, and I recommend you to look at this report. It's quite interesting, but neither Northern Ireland or Finland is in this, so we can't really say. But for instance, Ireland has inadequate and problematic or sufficient general health literacy, so it's all together adding up to 40, 30, quite high amounts. Well, problematic, so let's say 40%, so that's quite big problems if we think that then we would have to survive until our life is over. So there is a lot to do in the world, and even in European countries and even in northern countries. And groups that need special attention are then poor health status, high use of healthcare services. In Finland we know that about 10% of the people are using about 70% of the money in health services. Of course, that's not only negative, because there are people who really need that services, for instance the premature infants and stuff, so it's important, but also there are groups that wouldn't need to go there if they had a better health literacy. Low socioeconomic status, lower education, older age, and then of course children and adolescents, which is now in our interest. Here are some vulnerable groups for children. So the families with low income and some kind of poverty. It can be the at-risk poverty, or it can be material deprivation, or then households that with low work intensity, less than like 20% of the normal work day of a week. So these people are more vulnerable, and this is one of our target groups in one of our projects. And childhood poverty has been shown to be very vital indicator of children's well-being. So this is something that it's not only health literacy, but it's also the children's poverty level that we should look at, and maybe have our eyes on those people who really need support. This we can't really see a lot, and unfortunately now these statistics are, I don't know why this is, I don't know what I have done with my because it looks totally normal on the screen here, but over here it looks like it's like too wide for the projector. I apologize that. But here we can see anyway that those children who are from poor families have, and you can't see the non-poor families there, or non-poor children, but all these numbers, for instance, for poor health, uninsured health care, asthma, obesity, one or more emergency room visits for past 12 months, missed 11 or more school days in a year. So all of these are worse for children that have low income, so in families that have low income. There is also poorer food, children with very low food security, and so forth. So we can see that there is like a lot of problems that these children address that we could maybe avoid by paying more attention to the health literacy of these families and children. And we really need a little bit of re-evaluation, because currently, of course, it's important to raise up the whole society's health literacy skills, but also we should really pay attention to this, how we transmit the information and how we can tailor education so that it is tailored on individual capacities. And also, in addition, we would need to support the skills needed to access and understand, appraise and apply information. This was also something that is also in your slides there, in the handouts that you have. So about this, that it's not enough that we know about health literacy, but you have to be able to use it also, and use it on your benefit and understand what you are using. And this is really challenging. I don't know about you, but I am constantly thinking. I was just in a research study where they evaluated my waist length, and I got like -1 point, so it was like over the. So I am a little bit obese from the measures in Finland. Yes, yeah, well, that's true. I was very shocked, but anyway. So now I have to really think that what am I eating and how am I doing gymnastics. And even though I think that I am quite health literate, I am doing this. So where do I get the motivation and the power to do this every morning? So now I have found this. I'm telling you all because I really suggested 7-minute workout HEAT. You can put it into your phone, and every morning now I do this 7-minute workout, and in the spring I will be looking completely different. But anyway, but to get this kind of motivation, it's really difficult, even if you are happy and I have a salary and I am doing nice things every day. So when you think about a family that does not have this kind of positive atmosphere, does not have a job or something, so it's really different, and how we tailor things for these families. Well, children's health literacy is much more poorly studied than adults, and also already young children can seek, comprehend, evaluate and use health information. And actually this was something that I learned from my own experience, in that way that my children were participating in a kindergarten when they were small, where there were the kindergarten was like, it was called the green kindergarten. They had chosen this kind of topic that they taught the children how to admire the environment and how to separate your garbage into 4 different bins, and how to do that. And my children, when they started that, they came home one day and they said that our family is not doing well. And I was thinking that why is that? And then they said, our garbage, you always throw everything into same garbage bin, that we want that we have 4 garbage bins. And they were only 4 years old, and they changed my life. So it's possible. So children are clever, they can learn, and actually that's a very good way, because they learn to speak, they learn to behave, and they learn what is good and what is bad and right and wrong. So that's the right time to also teach this health literacy. So that's the best time of one's life to learn. And when you start it from the beginning, you have this kind of way of thinking, and then you are happy ever after, hopefully. So health education designed to children should increase their interest in health issues, which is not always easy when there are so many other issues that raise their interest, and also to support their self-efficacy, which was also these elderly men that I was very listening nicely. We have this group in our city. We have there is 500 men that meet once a week, and they have their together their gymnastics, and they are wearing same kind of t-shirts, and they come to our big sports hall, and the whole sports hall is full, and there is one guy who started it, and it has grown and grown and grown, and now there are people, and they are all men, and they are retired, but they are in different levels, so they can do the movements in different levels. I think that's an excellent, and your story was very similar to this, so I thought that was an excellent example. But when you learn it from the youth, you keep it up in the end also. So what we know that is working, we can build foundations for health literacy in early child development, like I already said, and support the health promotion in schools, address barriers to adult learning, combine and tailored approaches will work the best. So if we combine different things, it's working better than others. And also if we get participatory, like these examples we have already talked about, and if we explore new learning approaches, which is what we are now trying to do. We need to broaden the intervention, development and evaluation outside of healthcare settings, so not only there, and evaluate which interventions are best suited for the group. And so that's why I'm really happy that we need research, because that's where I get my like salary from. So there is necessary to do a little bit of research, and we try to then sick children and educating how to handle your diabetes and so forth, and also those are important, but now our approach is how to use these games for health literacy. And health games can be seen as they are, besides of entertainment purposes, they can be used for serious purposes. Serious doesn't sound fun, but they are in that way serious, that there is a theoretical background and they are targeted to do like change something, and then they are targeted to go like serious stuff in that way. Serious games can be health games, educational games, there are military and government simulations, corporate games and games for good. So all kind of games are possible. If we look at the current situation, so from the literature, so what has been reported in the literature, so most of these games are educational games, information users about any disease, but then there are behavioral, cognitive, exercise games, rehabilitation games, and hybrid games that are combining different approaches. There are some benefits already shown in the literature, that most of the research is considering nutrition and dietary promotion, so that is something that has been used in health games, and the games are most potential in supporting healthier dietary choices, self-efficacy, self-care behaviors, and health-related information needs. But the research is still quite limited, so we don't have a lot of research on this area. There is a journal called Games for Health, and that's quite interesting. It has only been for a few years, but it's already like very much growing, and if any of you get interested, so that's a journal that you can read, and it's open access in internet, so it's in that way nice journal. So again, when you are developing a game, so it's not like an easy piece of cake. It's quite a lot of work, and there are like games. We have to think about the content of the game. We have to think about the visualization and creation of the game, and as a system, how it works, and what buttons you push, and what happens when you push the buttons, and so forth. And then a game as a product. So when you try to do it, so in a way, this kind of game, of course, you can make easy, small little games very easily, but actually it's quite a big process when you do a game that is really working and it is really doing what it needs to do. You can what you can try to change with the game is that you can have a game for health to increase knowledge, to change behavior. You can have the behavior in the game, and then you can also try to influence the precursors of health with the games. So in a way, where you are targeting at is also quite interesting. What do you do? And this is of course interesting from the research perspective. And I'm going to jump over these because I want to concentrate on this. So we have this TEPE project in our university. I am the principal, the leader of the project, but then we have a big group. There is almost 10, a little bit over 10 people, let's say 15 people working on the games. So it's not only me, and I'm not telling only about my stuff. It's a big group behind this. And our research group, we have several leaders from the different perspectives like information technology and game development technology, because that's a life that is not so common to the nurse. I always say that we have the nurse and the nerds, and the nerds are the other ones and we are the nurses then who are developing this. But we do have doctors also in our group, and so but nurses and nerds sound so nice, so yeah. So this is our first project that we started with when we wanted to get acquainted with, and I see that there is somebody with the cancer t-shirt. I don't know if you are interested in that, but anyway, this group is, we started because children in hospitals who have cancer, for instance, a child that is a little bit maybe diagnosed when they are 3 years old, and then the cancer treatments they can take for 2 years, and that is almost half of the life of the child, if you think about it. Like if you think that now I am around 50, so 25 years of my life would be in hospital. So it's the same kind when you think about the 4-year-old and staying 2 years in hospital, or of course on and off and being at home in the middle. But anyway, it's a long process in a child's life. They are very often isolated, and the movements and activities that they can do is very limited. So what we thought in this project, that we are using already developed games, these Wii Fit games that are just for anybody, and we introduce these to children with cancer and try to activate them to play in the hospital and also at home when they are in the isolation periods, and try to see if we can avoid with this way, because we know that one of the childhood cancer survivors' problems in the long run is the obesity, because they don't move during that time, and then they learn this kind of passive way of life, and so we try to activate them with these games. And also that's because this is in isolation, so we try to do so that they can also play games with another person who is in another room, play tennis with another child, for instance. And now this research is such that we have had a 2.5-year data collection with over 1,000 intervention times to collect, because this is like a randomized controlled intervention study, and it has luckily taken a long time. It means that not so many children fall with cancer, and in Finland we are a very small country. You are even smaller, so it's even more difficult would be to do this kind of research and how long it takes to get the data. But anyway, now we have the data finalized, so I don't have results, but it seems like children, when they are activated, so they understand that they can move even they are sick, and we hope now that we get some kind of results that their activity level is a little bit higher than those that don't get this kind of support. And so, but this was our first health game project in a way. Then we have this game project that is right now starting also, but this is for adolescents, and here we are teaching the children. We have we try to activate. So now we are putting emphasis on the physical activity. So we try to change the behavior with the game, and the game is such that it activates the children with the mobile phone to do things. So they get points when they are doing things, and when you are doing things you get points, and of course then you start to compete with your friends. And this is going to be internationally, so we have it in several languages, and we hope in that one day it is so that people in different countries can play against each other, and maybe the school children in Turku can compete with Belfast children, and we can say that who gets more points or stuff like that, and to activate children to communicate and use the mobile phone for this kind of possibility. So Anni is the principal investigator in that project. And then this one is the most, the furthest that we have been going with the game that we have developed completely from the scratch, meaning that we have here a very solid theoretical background on self-efficacy and how to build self-efficacy for families with children, and how to realize how they can analyze their own health behaviors. And I'm going to go into detail a little bit here. So in this Wellbe, which is Hyväme in Finnish, which was in the previous slide. So Wellbe application is developed in that way that we have developed first of all it together with children. So we have interviewed children and asked what they would like to have in the game. But on the other hand, we have a theoretical background, so we also at the same time remember all the time that what is the theory behind it. And what we are looking there is we have this over here we have this circus, or how do you, it's a London Eye, but it's not a London Eye, but it's something else. How do you say it? Well, whatever. So many words coming to me. But anyway, this kind of thing, the London Eye, is that you can sit in and there is a circle in the middle, and that means that things that you are doing very rarely, and here is what things you are doing every day, and eating or moving. And then there are pictures that are based on the guidelines of good nutrition, and then there is guidelines for physical activity, daily physical activity. And then when the families are putting their movements and eatings and habits here, then we can calculate that how much they move such that is according to the guidelines and what is not according to the guidelines. And this, the public health nurse can use this for the discussion with the family and telling them that where is their like problems. The families themselves get the same report so that they can look where am I today, and if they want to change they can follow their development with this game. Also we realized with a huge amount of interviews with families that actually it's not really the problem of so much of like nutrition or the physical activity, but actually the problems are usually in the daily rhythm of life. So that the families that have problems, so they don't have a rhythm in their lives. So this is where we are collecting that what time do you wake up and what do you do after that, and then you can put here again there is a lot of possibilities that are based on science, and then you can put here your daily activities, and then the public health nurse can discuss with the family that how could we make this a rhythm better in your life? Could we, find like maybe you should have a meal together and things like that. So this is also like a base for the guidance. Use this game in one public health sector around our Turku region, and we have very promising results. The nurses like it. They save time, because usually all this interview goes during the discussion that you meet with the family. But now the family can fill in this at home with their computers or mobile phone, and then when they come, the statistics is already there, and the nurse can start from the problems and the things that can be should be discussed, and not everything. So you don't have to ask from every child that can you ride a bike, can you tie your shoes, but you can already go directly to the things that are important to that family and not to those that are not. Again, now in Finland we still ask the question that can you ride a bike, but sometimes it's very funny because the children don't ride bikes, but they use these I don't know how you call them, but these things, yeah, whatever they are, but the things that you slide around everywhere. So even though that they don't ride the bike, so they can do the same things, because that's about the balance and stuff. So it's really funny how we have learned also that our questions are outdated, and that's why we have here all the possible tools that you can use for sports, so that they can choose the ones that are relevant to them and not the ones that are relevant to the public health nurse. So this is another now that we have now also the the big data collection going on, where we have a randomized control trial on no for smoking. In Finland, the smoking is going down for boys, but it's growing for girls. It's because of the women's liberation, probably, I don't know, but they have the equal rights nowadays. So anyway, we have a little bit of problem with smoking, but altogether the smoking is still going downwards for teenagers, but actually like it's a little bit growing. So this no for smoking, these are mini games that you can play with the iPhone or a phone, any kind of phone, and then you get points, and in the middle of the game there is always a little bit of education. And the children again have been developing these games together with researchers, so that they have been participating every part, and they have had the right to say what kind of games they want. And they definitely said that they don't want any kind of, they said, flower dress women pointing out the finger that you are doing wrong, but they want it in a different way, and that's why we have used a company that has designed these games, and these are the characters in the game, and then they are teaching the children about different things that you should not do. And the idea is that how to learn to say no when somebody's offering you a cigarette. So how to be brave and have your own way and so forth. So this is the name of the game, and now we have the data collection on, so this is actually quite exciting time for us. Then there is like different things, and I'm sorry that I don't have the movies now, but I thought that if I take them, probably they won't work, and then I'm spending all this time trying to get it work, and it's humiliating. So I just thought that these will be free, so whenever we have them done, they are also in 3 languages at the moment: Finnish, Swedish and English. And whenever they are done, so then we distribute them to all over the world, so anybody can use them. So we just give them to use. And then we have this very exciting project just starting, which is mainly targeted to these low-income families and the poorest families, and it is in the Baltic Central region. We are doing it together with the Baltic Region Healthy Cities Association, and actually they are the coordinator, and we are just giving them the scientific advice and advice, because we have this kind of experience about these games that have been developed. And what we here target to those families that are families with even 6 to 12-year-old children, and we want to find ways how to support their health literacy skills, and especially targeting at the children, but also of course on the family. But we go from the child's perspective and not so much from the parent's perspective. So the idea is that no matter what kind of awful parents you have, you still have self-esteem to make decisions on your own health, because this is really the truth. There are children that survive even that their families are not so good. So we try to build up the self-esteem of these children and help them to find healthy solutions in their life. And it is going to be this kind of digital internet-based application again, and it's a garden where they learn then to not garden the garden, but garden the life and garden their health. And then I have this little one country level intervention that I thought that I'm just shortly only telling a few lines. This country level intervention that we have, so in Finland we have these municipalities, and the Finland is divided into small city parts. But we write this welfare report, and the welfare report is something that each city is obliged to do. So every city has to report annually things to this database. And when we analyze this database, we can, for instance, see in what cities around our city we live, my city is here, this one, and we can see that what cities, because this is the area that we are guarding, so we can see that what cities over here, there, for instance, have very bad smoking habits for children or have other health habits. And when you are following it annually, the strategic thinking can be changed also, and actions can be put into the right places. So I was just thinking that, I don't know, probably you have a similar database, but I think that's quite interesting, and we have been analyzing it, and we know how the children are doing in our areas quite well. So we saw that anyway, that something, but I'm not talking about that anymore. I think that this is my, I just go to this, Kiss my Turku, this is my city. That's our university. We have Christmas peace declaration, we have sailing boats on our river, and we are one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world. We have this very big harbor, and this is a May 1st, so it's the day after tomorrow. That's why I said I want to go home tomorrow, because we celebrate. We put our hats on, and they are when you get your matriculation examination, you put your hat on every year once, you keep it, and then celebrate with it for one day, or maybe two for some people. But anyway, so thank you for listening.